Anyway, I'm with you. Chris Robinson is here. I love this guy. I'm a big Black Crowes fan. I don't know about you. I am. Let me look at you. You look the same. You see, you keep your weight together. What do you eat?
Bulimia. It's bulimia.
Are you?
It's coming back in.
Isn't it necessary, Chris, for a frontman to have a certain look? Because when I watch one of my favorite videos to watch, and it's a shit video in the sense that it looks like some fan took it with his phone. When you're up there with Paige and the Black Crowes, and you guys all toured together,
right?
And you were singing Led Zeppelin, and you're in those fucking silver pants. Yeah. Which, by the way, are you wearing underwear in that video?
I don't. Back then, I had a lot of dubious decisions I made.
Because like you're dancing around, and I can see your cock and balls and everything. But I'm fascinated. But I mean, that is my favorite concert to watch, and I wish someone had made a really good concert film.
You know, I think with the reissue that they're reissuing that record, because we played Black Crowes material as well, but at the time with the licensing or whatever was going on, those songs didn't make it.
Right. It was all Zeppelin songs.
Yeah, which as a matter of fact,
Live at the Greek.
I think when we signed a contract with Jimmy, there was a no underwear lead singer thing in there because Robert Plant rarely wore underwear either.
Did it ever cross your mind when you were working with Robert Plant how horribly wrong that could have gone? Because here you are. I mean, when you were working with Jimmy Page,
I worked with Robert too when I was a kid.
Is that right?
In the first, it's funny when you talk about front man like that. In my case, I would probably been a front boy at this time. But I opened for Steven Tyler and Robert Plant in the first 5 months of us ever being a band.
When you were before Black Crowes, when you were
we were the Black Crowes. But that in 1990, like the first big tours we did were opening for Aerosmith and Robert Plant.
No kidding.
And I was like had to be thrust out there with these like famous like iconic.
You must have been out of your mind with like Glee working around those guys. Would they hang with you at all, or were you just kind of like it was?
I guess the Aerosmith thing was really. I mean, Steven Tyler gave me my first harmonica.
No kidding.
And taught me a little how to blow a little bit.
Great songwriter, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You don't think?
I haven't. That's
interesting.
I like the early stuff, and then later when people start to write songs, it's totally cool. People, the thing is, like, you could do what to me, I got into this music because it represented freedom to me, and then when you get to a place where money and fame and egos and stuff, when if that stuff starts to make more sense to you, or that's kind of what I think what you're looking for, then you have the producers and the writers, and you're in the machine. And I wasn't into that, but it's cool. But if you go that route, that's the super duper showbiz trip,
In other words, what you're saying is you felt Tyler and Aerosmith were more pure when they were doing Toys in the Attic and all their early stuff, and then when they made their comeback, it was more of a commercial enterprise. They went with the songwriters, and they kind of orchestrated. I enjoy
hugely successful,
yes, but that somehow that turns you off as an artist.
Just me personally,
right.
But that has nothing about them as people. You know what I mean?
What part of it turns you off, though? The commercialization,
that's a big part of it, and the authenticity. Like I don't. When I grew up in Atlanta, I was always an outsider, dyslexic kid,
right.
Scrawny, weird, into, literature. And
you weren't the popular guy in high school?
Really? Can you believe it?
No, but I mean, when you became a rock star, it must have been crazy because you went from being not the popular kid. You were a bookworm, right? I mean, you loved to read and listen to records.
Yeah,
and that was you in high
I
school.
played basketball. I mean, I was a little bit athletic. You kind of had to.
But you were one of the freaky kids.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to join a fraternity at the University of Georgia, and that kind of But music and the whole idea of living my life to my creative wits, that appealed to me. Because Atlanta in the '80s at that time, it seemed like all of us were those people in East Atlanta. You know
what's funny? When I fantasize about talking with you, about having a conversation with you, but believe it or not, I have. I think about like. When you were a kid kind of wanting to become a musician, and then all of a sudden you become a rock star, do you sit there and evaluate other lead singers and what they do on stage? Are you hard on them? And now I guess, just based on what you say about Aerosmith, You probably do. You really take a good hard look at, I don't want to say the competition, but other people in your profession and judge them in a sense, right?
Well, I mean, for me, again, and whether it's archaic or anachronistic or whatever, yeah, I mean, someone asked me this the other day, like, when did you start singing? Like, when did your voice go from this to that?
Yeah.
And it was other people, you know what I mean? In Atlanta, we were Mr. Crow's Guard, and we'd play, and then after
that was your first band, Mr. Crow's Guard.
Right.
Yeah.
And then someone after the gig or something would say, "Oh man, do you sound like Steve Marriott from Humble Pie or the Small Faces?" And to be honest, I didn't listen to a lot of hard rock music.
Right.
I knew I would say like 30 Days in the Hole, but then I would like get a Humble Pie album, and then I would be like, ooh.
Yeah, maybe I do sound a little like that.
Or Paul Rogers or Terry Reid or.
Yeah, and those guys are good. Bad Company, Paul Rogers. I mean, that guy could sing his ass off.
I mean, he's one of the best.
So and two, your dad, a musician, he had a little hit record at some point, right?
My dad, yeah, he. It's funny though when you say like, my dad was.
But your dad was a dick about your singing. He told you sucked.
Yeah, he told me I was a talentless loser, and in his southern.
What a nice thing to say to your son.
Well, you ready for this? In his southern colloquialism was, "You can't carry a tune from the well to the house in a fucking bucket."
Wow, and like, do you think that spurred you on, Chris? Like, do you think?
Yes, of course.
Do you think you said "fuck you"?
I'm still that. I mean, I'm doing.
Are you still saying "fuck you" to your dad? Like, hey, I can sing?
No. My dad passed.
Right, I know, but
and we were cool. But maybe in a way, I'm saying I don't think it's like an angry thing, but in a way, I still have that sort of I'll show you thing.
Yeah,
I do it now with our band, the CRB. I mean, the Black Crowes. Everyone said you can't do what you're doing, but we're doing it, and it's working. It's maybe not working in a giant showbiz way, but in our own organic sort of.
You've made your life as an artist, and you get paid, and I mean, you beat the odds.
I beat the odds, and what's the main motivation there is joy.
Right.
I mean, I'm a father. I have a beautiful family. I have this wonderful life and friends and this music.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and that's kind of funny where we jumped off about, it's not
Zeppelin, you mean?
Well, just about, like, I guess, it would be exhausting to keep up in the system and the race of trying, then it turns into like a status thing. And I don't have any traction with that as an idea. I'm looking for authentic experience.
So when you decided to become a singer in a band, even when you were a kid, you would look at guys like I got to figure you looked at frontmen like Jagger, of course, because because the thing
he's a monkey genius.
But to me, you're an entertainer. Like you'll get up there and you'll dance around on stage. I think that's even a major decision. Like you look at Oasis. Those guys are like wooden Indians. I mean, they do not fucking move on stage, right? Because they decided long ago, like, hey, man, we just don't look right doing that.
But they had a charismatic weird thing in there being that.
I mean, even in their videos, they would not move. They would just sit on a stool or something. But do you make a decision early on? I'm comfortable with my body. I know I can do cool dance moves. And have every guy want to be me as opposed to laughing at me. I mean, there's got to be some sort of.
A lot of people are still laughing, Howard.
Are they laughing at you?
Well, my performance now is much different. I play guitar. Our performances, as the years went by, that's another funny thing. And I'm happy to be 50 years old and look like this. And part of that rock and roll mentality is, when you see like an old rocker dude and like they're. You get older, your face changes.
It doesn't look great, yeah.
Well, they have like their hairdo doesn't fit right or something. It's like
I've been accused of that.
No, you got the right size.
No, I was really glad.
For some guys, Chris, I think it's Halloween every day.
Yeah. Well, I was really glad you walked in with the beard and the long hair. I was like, I wonder if Chris cut his hair. No, you did it. You'll never cut your hair, right?
Well, I mean, I'll cut my hair when Donald Trump's out of office.
That's your goal.
Yeah, totally.
But it is getting back to what I was trying to say when you walked in. The reason I love that whole performance, that sort of time in your life when the Black Crowes said, "Okay, Jimmy Page wants to go and perform some songs with us. We're going to do Black Crowes songs, and we're going to do Led Zeppelin songs."
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
That could have gone so fucking horribly wrong.
No shit.
But I've said for years to my friends and stuff, I go, watch that video because it goes so right. You embody the energy of those songs, and those are classic songs.
And and by the way, it's funny because when I was a kid, Robert and I got into a little bit of a tiff because I was so naive. I still am so naive about music. But when we toured with Robert in 1990...
1990 is when you meet Led Zeppelin, right?
That's why
No, when do you meet Led Zeppelin for the first time? I'm talking about the band and all that.
I mean,
You just seem to know those guys.
you couldn't escape hearing the music and stuff.
Right.
But, Robert, he didn't sing Led Zeppelin at that time. He was just doing his solo stuff.
Right.
But at one point in the show, it would get to he was supposed to hit that high note and Whole Lotta Love. They would break into but it was a recording.
Oh, is that right?
And Robert's probably 6 years younger than I am now at that time.
Right.
And at the time, I was just such a little naive asshole. I didn't realize I did an interview with Rolling Stone, one of my first ones, and I said, yeah, people like Steven Tyler and Robert Plant use tapes, man. Why aren't they singing? And then next thing I know, I get a message of Steven Tyler's like, what are you doing? And Robert Plant told me to my face because I saw Robert in the last couple of years, and I hadn't talked to him since I sang his songs and stuff, which he gave me his blessing.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, we're friends. He's very cool.
Robert Plant had no problem with you going on tour with Jimmy Page?
I mean, at the time, I didn't talk to him, but when I saw him a couple years ago, he told me he thought I did a great job. And
I mean, in a way, you didn't...
I didn't copy him.
No, you didn't copy him.
It's impossible.
You did your own thing. Well, I love it. I love what... I was playing this morning, this... And I love seeing Jimmy Page and all right, at this point, he's an older guy. He's cut his hair short. He's a little bit chubby. You fear doing this?
Of course. Are you kidding, man? I mean, how many people love... But, it's the same thing with my, relationship with the Grateful Dead family,
Right.
When was it? 13, 14 years ago when I first stepped on stage with Phil Lesh, I mean, people were like, we hate,
They hate you right away just because you're not in the Grateful Dead family.
And then as time goes by, now
they accept you.
They associate a part of it,
So get back
to Plant. But the same thing with Plant. People, you sing those songs, a real Led Zeppelin fan is going to hate your guts, know?
So what did Plant or Steven Tyler say to you after the Rolling Stone article came out and you busted them for singing with tape?
They were disappointed.
They were. And did you just say to them, listen, I'm a hippie. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
I was a kid. I didn't realize I was giving away the company's secrets. I mean, but Robert told me that it made him rethink what he was doing at the time and that actually he wanted to strangle me. And then he said afterwards it made me realize, he might be onto something about this.
Do you think that's why he won't perform Zeppelin stuff anymore, because he can't hit those notes?
That's a great question.
I think that's the case.
I think maybe. Well, first off, I don't think I could sing that. That was in 2000.
Oh, man,
17 years have gone by.
You don't think you could hit those notes?
Maybe.
Those songs are hard to sing.
They are very hard, and but if you see Robert and Jimmy from that Celebration Day a few years ago, he sounds great, man. And my wife and I saw him in L.A. a couple years ago now at the Greek, and he and his new band.
Yeah.
And I told him after the show, out of all these old cats, out of all your era and all these iconic people, I love and respect. Here you are. You're not. The point is, are you brave enough? Do you have enough within you and enough talent and enough stuff to have something outside of this other thing? And he's proven that he can.
When he went solo, he had I love that one song that he did when he went solo. What the fuck was the song? How can I not pull that out of my head? Fred, what am I thinking?
It's not Big Log, is it?
I'm in the mood.
I'm in the mood.
I'm in the mood for a melody. I'm in the mood.
Great song.
Yeah, great song.
And he had a song called Big Log.
Big Log,
and I didn't really know. I didn't want to know what that meant.
You know what it means. There's two possible meanings to a big log. Oh my God! But yeah, this is just such a great performance, and I hold that up in I go, well, there's a guy who actually got on stage with Jimmy Page and didn't make a fool out of himself. Those are tough songs to sing.
And the thing about Jimmy, I'll say, who's a lovely, lovely person.
How much rehearsal do you do? Oh, well, say your thing first.
Well, that's a great thing too. And for people to this day, his energy and rehearsals. I mean, he would be sweating and like, I mean, it would be like an intense, like a prize fight. You know what I mean?
You know what's weird, though?
Rehearsals.
You know what's weird? When he was young, he was in that wizard outfit with the moon and the stars all over.
The raddest one. Yeah.
And he was super skinny and had long hair. He like the two of you back. If you could have gone to the same age, that vibe would have been good, right?
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
That vibe would be good now, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'm free. Come give me a buzz. You know.
These fucking songs are so great. Oh, I would just think as a musician to get to play with him. So when he said he'd like tour with you, what do? You guys go into a studio and practice forever?
Well, that situation, yeah. I mean, pretty much. You know? I mean,
and do you sit there and memorize all the lyrics? Or
see, the thing with Jimmy, we hit it off because we met, and I'm a deep music fan. You know what I mean? I have 5,000 vinyl records. I have 10 weeks worth of different music on my iPad. You know?
Yeah, you have music and books that you travel around with when you do a tour and stuff. You say, forget the gear that you have to carry as a band. It's your books and your records that fuck everything up, right?
I'm a geek, man. You know what I mean? That's my... But I'm constantly inspired by stuff. You know what I mean? And
how did you have time for, like, marriages and kids when you're that sort of into yourself? And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I'm kind of right there with you. How do you just not become self-consumed? How do you not just say, I just need time to read?
What is on my permanent record? Prone to daydreaming. That's the thing, and that's all. Writing songs and being an artist is just, to me, the daydreaming part of it. Yeah. And it's always been a problem,
When I forget what tour it was, but
by the way, when you have kids and stuff, they could care less about the songs you've written. They could care less about being in the,
they don't even know you're a rock star.
They don't care?
They don't at all. And by the way, that should be exactly how it is.
How many kids you got now? I know you had the kid with Kate Ryder.
Yeah, and then I have a daughter as well.
And you have a daughter as well. Do they want to be rock stars?
I don't know, because, in my world now, Dad is a hardworking musician. The rock star stuff seems to have been in another era.
Yeah, right.
And now, everyone when they're, you know what I mean? And my wife is my manager, and, everything is in our scale. We're not in the music business, man. We do our thing, and everything is in-house. And so they see a different person. My daughter especially, she wouldn't, when she sees old Black Crow stuff, she's like, who is that girl?
Who's that chick with a beard?
It's funny, like, neither of my children have ever seen me without a beard or anything.
Oh yeah. It's so wild. I mean, I'm thinking back on your career. What a great run. Like you say, like, your parents are into music, and your dad even had a hit record. Well,
Boom a dip dip.
Boom a dip dip. How does that go? Boom a dip dip.
I was sitting in the corner with my best girl, May, and I wanted everybody to stay away.
Was your dad like a sad kind of guy in the sense that, like, he had a hit record, but it never went bigger than that, and then...
Well, it's funny. I definitely think he had a lot. That was his weird, jealous thing with my success, and
was he weirded out?
Yeah.
He couldn't be 100% happy for you. He's like, why the fuck is he doing this?
I think he was happy for him because it gave him some stuff to talk about.
Right.
If he was out chatting it up.
It was still all about him.
But watching you on stage, wouldn't it be nice to have a father who would say, oh my God, look at my boy, he's so great?
I think he was to other people, but he couldn't do it to me for whatever reason, which is,
Did you ever have that moment?
I have a therapist, Howard. Everything's fine.
Did you? That's how therapists make money with dads like that. But when you look back on it, it would have been great. I guess the fantasy would be if your dad put his arm around you and said, you pulled off what I couldn't.
But isn't there this other sort of, I don't know, it's like an archetypal artist thing and a generational thing, Yeah. I mean, the biggest influence on my dad in terms of music, after he lived here in New York, and that was like those Bobby Darin kind of rock and roll records, and he was a kid. When he moved back to Atlanta, he immersed himself in folk music, and he was in a folk duo called the Appalachians on ABC Paramount. And that's where, like, my music relationship, or my dad, when he was like Willie Loman. He was Schmata, you know what I mean?
Right.
We were Garmentos.
Right. So
we wrote Benowitz before we were Robinson. I'm Jewish on my dad's side.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And so the folk part, when my dad would be home, he would sing Shady Grove or whatever, and that's the stuff. But he would explain, like, this song came from Ireland or this song came from Scotland.
Gave you an education.
And it opened me up that these stories and this music is alive. It's not something that is from the past, and that has been really special because, you know what I mean? When it's alive and it's happening, music is the most amazing time machine, multidimensional thing in the world. We weep and we wail. You know, we have music when we're at our lowest, and we want music when we're at our most joyous.
That first big Black Crowes album that came out, Chris, I'm talking about, I guess
Shake Your Money Maker.
Shake Your Money Maker. You had maybe 4 or 5 big hit songs on there.
Yeah, yeah.
When you think about it. Like you've said in interviews that
we sang on your show in L.A.
I know.
One of the first times anyone ever heard "Jealous Again." Yeah,
I know. You and your brother.
I was 23 years old.
Why do I still feel completely sad about the relationship between you and your brother?
Because it's sad. It's sad when it's sad when family don't like each other.
I mean, but look at the beauty of this. 2 brothers. You know, you share so much history. You're the older brother. You're the singer, you're the poet, you're this fucking great artist. Your brother's, practicing guitar, coming to you with some riffs and some things. This beautiful chemistry. And you guys put a band together. And, you've tried to find drummers. You try to find this one. You trash your first band, and then the Black Crowes are happening.
Right.
You get a record contract at an early age. The 2 of you as brothers write music together that has become legendary.
Right.
And now you can't share that history together.
I know.
It drives me up the fucking wall.
You and me both. There'd be a different situation. I mean,
why do I feel I could get you guys together? Right? Why do I think I'm the one?
Well, what is the status of the relationship? Do we speak at all?
It's over.
Donald Trump is president. John Mayer's in the Grateful Dead. My brother's in a Black Crowes tribute band. I mean, that's what's happening. It's a crazy world.
Let's
Robin.
dissect that.
It's a mixed up, crazy world.
Let's dissect that, Chris. The band your brother's in, his band, really is mostly just Black Crowes without you.
Well,
they perform Black Crowes music.
That's what I hear.
That bothers you?
You know what? At the end of the day, I am so immersed and so happy with what we're doing, and our band is taken off, and I'm doing exactly what I always
But
wanted
you're okay
to be
with
doing.
that?
You know what? It's not whatever, man. Everyone's got kids to feed, and everyone.
And Chris, you bring up John Mayer being in the Grateful Dead. Do we like this or do we not like this?
The Grateful Dead is turned into this giant nipple that everyone sucks off of to get money.
Because you love the Grateful Dead. You're in that tradition of you'd like to get up on stage and jam and do the whole thing. And what is it that
I don't
the
really.
problem
I'm
is?
not a big John Mayer fan. No.
No? Why?
Because it's like Jerry Garcia is a hero of mine.
Right.
Everything that Jerry Garcia ever talked about or stood for is John Mayer's the antithesis.
Is he though? He's a
Of course.
wonderful guitar player.
He knows all the licks. There's nothing unique about his playing. Jerry was one of the most unique musicians in the world. Jerry never played anyone else's licks. Now here's John Mayer playing everyone else's licks.
So it bothers you.
It doesn't bother me. I just don't have anything to do with it. I won't, you know what I mean?
Right.
I still have.
You have your core values.
Yes, of course. And the thing that has made my life problematic sometimes with people, and this goes to my family and to the Black Crowes and all the way back to being a kid. You can't buy me.
You're very opinionated, and I think that's what makes great songwriters. That, in other words, your point of view has to be almost so strong and unbendable. And you have to be so in touch with your own emotions and feelings. That's what makes great songwriters. That's why I couldn't be a great songwriter.
But hopefully you have to be strong enough to withstand, again, to me, and I mean, this is the word, this sounds horrible, but to me, it would be almost like, these songs are little eggs.
Yeah.
And I'm not that naive or foolish that I don't want to be successful. It's just, when we were talking about when we're young, when you're a kid, system didn't work for me. I'm dyslexic, weird person into my things. Why would I start to trust anything else except my instinctual self in a sense, because other things don't add up in that way. And I know on the outside it must look like you said, and Robin was laughing too. And it's upsetting and painful that it's painful that your family doesn't like each other, and then you've created something like that, and then it turns
it's so
into
out in the
this
open
thing.
too.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, the one
I
story
can take that. I mean, if you can't take that, we wouldn't be sitting here.
But the one story I always laugh at. I mean, I didn't get to see the concert, but I think I don't know at what point in your careers it was, but that you and your brother literally had a fist fight on stage, and then finished the fist fight and got up. And it got up off the floor and finished the song.
We never punched each other on stage.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh,
We've
see?
had a few.
Don't tell me that because
Who told you this?
You
told
think
me
that's a
that?
wonderful story.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite stories about you. That like you finished the song. You know
But
what I mean?
you know, like it's the Everly Brothers didn't like each other. Ray and Dave
Oasis.
Davis, Oasis. They are, but they
And
are.
you say that's one of the best tours you guys ever did. When you went out with the Black Crowes, you
Right.
and your brother, who don't get along,
Well, we called the whole tour Brotherly Love Tour.
and Oasis, who those two guys, they can't
They-
stand,
they can't
each,
stand
other.
each other.
Was that
yeah.
kind of like wonderfully comfortable to
It
you?
totally was. Yeah, yeah. It was like being in a deposition with everyone.
Could you like go to the Oasis and say, "Gee, it's so wonderful to know you guys"?
You know what?
because
It's like kind of that thing. Everyone was on their best behavior because everyone had heard the other group was like so fucking horrible. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
man.
And it's like, so when we all got together, like, oh, we're all just nice people.
I know what the story was. It was that you and your brother were rehearsing a song and you got into a fight, and
Yeah.
and then that's what it was.
Yeah,
That-
yeah. But
was-
that stuff used to happen quite a bit.
oh my God, because you're such a peaceful man.
I know. But when you're
But you're passionate.
opinionated and you're weird and skinny, people want to, take your shoes or whatever.
I know. Well, let's go back to the time in your life when you make that first big album. You and your brother, when you were talking to each other,
Right.
and would you guys sit in a room, because the goal was you guys wanted to write an album as great as Exile on Main Street. That was your goal,
I mean,
which is one of the greatest albums of all time. Yes?
Truly. Yeah, of course.
Truly.
I mean, the Rolling Stones. I mean, it's funny now because at 50, I might be one of the last generation of people to realize what the Rolling Stones, like, what they represented before it turned into, like,
What it is now.
Again, but that's cool, man. People come to New York and they go to Times Square. That's what the Rolling Stones are.
Well, I went to see the Rolling Stones a couple of years ago because why not? I mean, they're there.
Exactly.
And it was a good show.
And they're one of the cornerstones of, like, there's no rock and roll without the Rolling Stones.
That's right.
I mean, whether it's, Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and Little Richard, or you go back to Louis Jordan, or you want to take it back to the Blues Cats, I mean, you put the Rolling Stones where they belong.
The Stones were the greatest rock and roll band ever.
Mick Jagger in 1972 is the best frontman that has ever been, ever will be. I mean,
Yep.
and I always tell people, if you watch the Rolling Stones now, now people are impressed that he doesn't fall down when he runs around for like 2 hours.
I am shocked by his energy.
I know. It's like we should get video of him in the gym
Yeah.
and be the same thing.
And he still wears a belly shirt and all
he
that
looks
shit.
amazing.
Yeah.
But he was at his best. He was on a very small. If you watch those old movies from Madison Square Garden, 1972, he's rocking a very small piece of the stage.
Right.
And you can't take your eyes off of him. That to me was always like the real.
But let's compliment you. You are the same type of performer. You like, even when you're on stage with Jimmy Page, I know, like, you support the guy playing the guitar. When you're not singing, you dance and you're moving.
We were talking about the Black Crowes. At the end of the day, rock and roll should have a visceral connection, right? And if you're making it, and when you said, did I feel like people would make fun of me or think I was stupid? And I'm sure people do, or
Right.
even now, whatever, when I would dance and that kind of performance. I truly only was as good as the band behind me and the crowd in front of me.
But
because
it's still,
that's the energy, man.
But
I
it's
was
still a
never good
conscious.
at-
It's a conscious decision, though, to dance, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah,
you don't just let the moment take you
Hey,
over.
I'm from down south, Howard. I'm from Atlanta. You better know how to dance, man.
Would you practice your moves in front of a mirror when you were a kid?
Never,
Like,
never,
You never went
no.
that far.
No. And I never, you saw the Black Crowes. I never did a showbiz trip. We love you, Cincinnati. I
No.
never said the same things. I never had an act that was choreographed, because things need to be in the moment, and it was only as good as all of the ingredients put together.
Let's go through some of these great songwriting moments when you were with the Black Crowes. And I'm going to just remind you of a couple of songs, and we're going to talk about these.
Okay.
This is the first album you guys put out. Jealous. Listen to me. Jealous again. Come on, let's do it. Beautiful song, right? Let's get into it a little. So beautiful. It's a great fucking song. People will be shocked to know on the Billboard charts, this song only went about to number 75. Isn't that weird?
Well, it had guitars in it, man. You still don't hear guitars on the radio. What are you, nuts? Except
you think
today,
that's it?
except this morning.
I mean, but it was a hit. Don't get me wrong, and now it's like legendary. But you would have thought this was the number one song.
But you have to realize when this record, like when George Drakoulias found us here in New York in a club and signed us and produced this record, all the big managers and stuff, they all said that I was the worst. You know, it was at the time of Axl Rose and like and all that stuff, and I'm singing blues, and
it was different.
And people were like, you know, a lot of people in the business were like, they're not going to go anywhere. The singer's horrible.
Were they pressuring you to be like an Axl Rose? Were they?
I've luckily been so in my own world that no one could
touch you.
Well, no one could make me do that. Like, you know, like why would I listen to someone else? Because a guy from a record company or whatever.
I thought Rick Rubin produced this record.
No.
He didn't?
Rick had nothing to do with it.
But Rick worked with you guys.
No. Rick owned the company.
Oh, I see.
Rick put his name on the record after we sold 1 million copies, yeah.
Do you have beef with Rick?
I don't have anything with Rick.
Right. Well, Rick was the head of the record company, or, you know, was in charge of your label, I guess.
Again, Rick didn't like me because I didn't think that I needed to kiss Rick Rubin's ass to get anywhere in the music business. Just out of like sheer, I don't have to kiss anyone's ass.
Right. No, you
I can be respectful and be cool, but it's the same thing. I'm fine not doing it. You know what I mean?
And Rick wanted you to change your image or something? You've always said that he wanted you to...
This is a true story.
Go ahead.
I mean, when my parents left the city, we moved to the suburbs, to a place called Cobb County, COBB.
Right.
He wanted us to change. He told me this. He goes, you should change the name of your band to the Cobb County Crows with K's.
KKK?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, we should do that, man.
You did not get along.
That's an amazing, ignorant, and hate-filled response to like.
So sometimes
he doesn't know about Atlanta. He doesn't know about where I come from. You know what I mean? I'm from Black Mecca. The only thing I'm proud about Atlanta is that's like Black Mecca. You know?
Yeah, maybe he wanted you to appear more Southern. Maybe play up that angle or something.
KKK?
Yeah.
Well,
that's about as South as you can get.
Who
knows?
But that was the kind of like huckster Barnum and Bailey shit I had to deal with.
Here, let's review some of these songs, okay? Get jealous again. Let's go to this one. Listen to you. You know these songs are hits when you write them? Like, did you go, man, this is a hit?
No one cared.
Nobody cared.
We thought we would make a record, get to tour, and then we'd have to find jobs, you know?
Right.
Because there was no... It's like the same chances of making it to the NBA or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, this doesn't happen.
Yeah. And it happened very quick, you know?
Listen to this song for a second. Listen to this. Now, this song broke so big.
Yeah.
Hard to handle. And this is an Otis Redding
song. Of course.
But you arranged this, right? Do you and your brother sit down and say, how are we going to fucking do this?
I tell you this. The best part of Hard to Handle, I had the idea to sing it because Otis Redding's still my favorite singer of all time.
Right.
George Drakoulias turned it into Walk This Way.
Ah.
It's the exact same beats per minute, and if you break down Walk This Way and this, you go like...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You break it down, you're like, walk this way.
Yeah.
You know?
And when he brought that to you, you went, oh, okay, that's a cool idea.
I took him the song, and he kind of thought to turn it into, like, Walk This Way.
Yeah, that's
so if you listen to it, it's like, what's underneath the cover of the same song in a weird way.
That's how you write a hit song, I guess.
Well, that was Otis's song.
Yeah, it was Otis's song.
But
you do a beautiful job with it, though.
Well, he's the best, and he's from Georgia too, you know. So
was it the best feeling when this song went number one? I think.
I don't think so. We never had a number one. We had number one rock records.
Yeah, it went to number 26 on the national chart. Yeah, but I mean that's fucking amazing. Anyway,
we had a number one album on the Billboard chart.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. How about this song? Remember this one?
I do remember that.
You remember writing it?
Yeah, of course.
What were you writing about? Some chick you knew who was like into heroin or something?
I didn't really know her that well.
Yeah.
There were a lot of subjects in this song that were in front of me that later I would, you know.
How did it work with your brother? Like, with a song like this?
At this time, he still lived at my parents' house.
Right, because how much younger is he?
He's 2.5 years younger.
Yeah, right.
So.
That's what's annoying. Younger brothers are supposed to listen to their older brothers and look up to them and just listen to what they have to say.
Yeah, it is annoying.
Just tell them to get in fucking line with the program.
You know, at the time, too, all the rock bands had their, like, power ballads.
Right.
And we didn't want that. I thought like, Wild Horses was a ballad that had no, you know what I mean? Or
It's not a power ballad.
No,
right. I see what you mean. So,
but the acoustic guitars were different too,
So what does he do? Does Rich come into the room and say, Chris, I've got this kind of...
He would, this song and like every song, he would play me or something, and then I would say, cool, now take this part from what you played earlier and put those two together. And then he would say, okay, and then I would say, like Jealous Again or this song or any of them, I would say, this is the verse and this is the chorus. And he'd be like, oh, I don't think so. And
what does he know?
I arranged his music, and that's what I did for the Black Crowes, and wrote all the lyrics and all the melodies. And
when you look back on it all, do you think they appreciated enough what you did for them?
I don't think things work like that.
No.
They just see me as a problem. Well, I mean, I took
a problem makes a lot of hit songs.
Well, I took I closed down the soup kitchen. Kind of, and I get it, but. I'm a songwriter, and that's how I find my way across the dark cave floor of this existence, is by seeing how things are going. And
when you're writing a song like this, you're thinking about some girl you knew. You didn't know her that well. She's on heroin. But was she talking to angels? In other words, because she was crazy?
That was my poetic moment of turning it into... And I've always used... I'm from the South, and I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not religious at all.
Right.
But I like the imagery. I like that gospel kind of idea sometimes.
Yeah.
And she was like a goth chick,
Yeah.
So it was a very dark appearance and stuff. So I just could kind of... these are the first real songs that we wrote,
Yeah, beautiful songs.
George Drakoulias, I mentioned him again. He's the one to this day who instilled this work ethic about you have to work on your songs. The songs are everything.
They didn't come that easy, right? In other words, you had to really work on it.
It's still the same today. I mean, I've written 23, we have a new album coming out, 23 new compositions in 14 months. It's like
it's like pulling teeth.
Well, to me, it's a lot easier in a sense, because it's the people I work with. It's a lot more communal. And
I wonder if this chick ever knew you wrote a song about her.
Yeah.
Oh, she does know?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
I haven't seen her. I haven't lived in Atlanta for 27 years.
Were you in love with her or something?
No, not at all. She wasn't a lover or girlfriend.
Just fascinated you.
We were just friends. I knew her. One of my best stories about her, though, was there was this place we used to play called the White Dot in Atlanta. And I was in there seeing another band. It was like a Tuesday night at 1 a.m, and this like yuppie dude, she's a black girl, so
right.
she was and goth, and this yuppie guy was like hassling her and like, hitting on her, and he was drunk and probably too aggressive. And next thing I know, she swings a Budweiser bottle around and right on his forehead and hits him with a bottle and knocks him off the bar stool.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, that was that chick, man.
You almost really did talk to angels. Okay,
well, he did,
right.
he did.
Someone was gone, though.
I said, leave that girl alone, man.
And then now, as long as we're walking down memory lane, the second album comes out, the Southern Harmony and Musical Companion, right? And listen to this song.
Was it Groucho Marx? Was This Is Your Life? Is he coming out?
Yeah, come on, here we go. Ready?
The hologram of Groucho Marx.
Come on, these are good tunes. We should celebrate them. When am I ever going to get you in here again?
All I want is a remedy for all of the things in me.
Good song. And this song...
It's a big hit.
Yeah, big hit. And Remedy was like, everyone was talking about the remedy for the war on drugs, right? And you were like, it's ridiculous. How can you have a war on drugs?
Why are we still even talking about it today?
It's so fucking stupid.
I live in the free Republic of California, my friend.
I know. Do you smoke weed?
Of course.
Yeah. And do you have one of those medical cards?
Of course.
Look at you. I thought you looked a little sick. What a beautiful song. Nobody's rocking like this anymore.
Rock and roll is not a commodity anymore.
Is it dead?
No. I mean, like I said, it's... I don't feel... I mean, I'm in a rock and roll band traveling the world, Like, it's still...
Yeah, now Chris has a new album.
You make what you make it, Like, that's real. We can only be in control of our perception of what's happening to us or around us,
Yeah. I guess. What do I know? Chris has a new band, the Chris Robinson Brotherhood.
You like that?
Yeah, I mean, why? That's interesting. Everything with brothers and brotherhood. Is that a smack at your brother? Like, say, hey, man, I've got a brotherhood now. I've got a real brother now.
Not really. I don't really think about it that much. You know, we've been so dysfunctional so long. You know what I mean? It doesn't. I don't wake up in the morning and go, God damn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm so, I'm in the band of my dreams and our concerts and our scene and the music I'm making. One of the main reasons the Black Crowes got to be a little bit boring is I'm a singer and you couldn't hear me sing and it was loud and no one wants to,
Hey, I never asked you about drugs though, like because Remedy, obviously a drug themed kind of thing, and I happen to agree with you politically. I think every drug should be legal.
Yeah.
Would you write high? Would you smoke some weed and write songs? Or is that is that verboten? Like going to the office?
No. I mean, it depends. My songwriting has changed.
Yeah.
I used to be a nighttime writer.
Right.
And as the years have gone by, now I'm a morning writer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the night times would probably start to would be different. And at this age, I'd only written maybe 20 or 30 songs. You know what I mean? Like real ones. And now that I'm 50, I've written hundreds of songs. So. Remedy would be a song like could write that. I probably wrote all those lyrics without any changes, that whole album, in just a matter of hours, really.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
You had a lot to say.
Yeah, I mean, my whole world, we went from being some kid who's, no one knows who you are, and then you go around the world, and then you sell these records, and then boom, what are you going to do next?
You've said you tried acid in 1985 for the first time. Did that open you up somehow? Like, when the Beatles talk about they went and did acid?
Of course.
It did? Did it change you as a songwriter?
It changed me as a person.
But I I feel acid is the worst thing on the planet. I've done it, and I think it's a plague.
It's not a plague, but I agree with you. If anything that doesn't benefit you or help, LSD would have been the least psychedelic, would be my last option in a sense at that time.
Right.
Psilocybin and things like that. But depending on who you are and what you're looking for, I think to me the question that you talk about politics and psychedelics is why, if some of these, the LSD you have to manufacture,
right.
But some of these things,
like shrooms,
they grow out of the ground,
right?
I mean, and you're telling someone you're basically policing their consciousness.
Makes no sense.
And you cannot police someone's consciousness. I mean, you can try.
Right, and you can't legislate.
What's the main motivation of policing if you're a conscious, open being that walks with light and understands, good and evil? They don't want that. The only way you can control people is fear and ignorance. Right?
I don't even do drugs, and I'm for the legalization of all drugs.
Of course,
Why would I sit there and want to tell you what you could do?
Well, why would they? Then again, who makes the most money off of it? Pharmaceutical. It's all right there in black and white. That guy who was in here earlier, he's not going to understand this.
No, leave it alone if it doesn't personally affect you.
There's nothing wrong with the ozone.
Chris, everything's fucked up.
My head's on fire. Head's on fire.
Chris Robinson's Brotherhood, the new album, Barefoot in the Head.
Yeah.
And putting out a new album these days is it's crazy, right? The record business is...
It's amazing, though. I put out more records in the CRB. We have our own cottage industry.
Right.
We don't... But the thing is, what it used to be. You get, $2 million advance on your album, and everyone comes to the trough and takes it. Now
you never see the $2 million. That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But now the thing is, I have I'm in the studio every year again.
You're making a lot of music. Your fans get your music, and you're putting it out there.
It's straight from the source. We're the farm to table band, Howard.
Listen to this. This is new music from you, okay? Just put up the volume. Kind of a nice groove. I can smoke some weed. Right? That's what it's all about. Trying to live my lifestyle.
Feeling good, man.
Yeah, like this is beautiful. Everything's good.
It's very positive.
Yeah, this is positive right now. I don't feel down. I feel high already. What drug would pair well with this song? I was going to do one.
I would say a good Master Keef and a nice rosé. It's springtime.
Yeah, why not? You're right. See, you have to talk to the author in order to really know. So are you writing your songs alone now? Are you
No,
like...
I write usually the verse and choruses. Like this song, Adam McDougall, who was my keyboard player in the Black Crowes, joined me in this venture. And
oh, nice.
Neil Casal, my guitar player, is very well known. We all write together.
And you're playing guitar these days,
I'm playing guitar.
You never wanted to play the guitar. You said it was too much hassle carrying around all that equipment.
That was because no one wanted me to play guitar.
Yeah, look at you. Nice stuff. How's the personal life? You married?
You
and
should
your
have
wife...
a tie-dye on when you listen to this. It'll make it even better.
I like it. I like it.
I am married. My beautiful wife is...
Your wife's here, huh?
She's my manager as well.
Should I meet her?
Would you like to meet her?
Yeah, let me meet her.
Yeah.
Let me see who you're married to. Finally got married,
What
right?
did you just say?
Yeah.
9 years, man.
9 years you married?
Yeah.
Is this for real? Are you gonna come in here in a year and tell me you're no longer married? This is it.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting along.
I'm coming back next year.
This is your beautiful wife. Let me say hi. Oh yes, hello.
Allison.
Allison. Hi, Allison. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Now, when you look back on your husband's life, do you say, hey, I understand why he couldn't get along with the Black Crowes because he's a difficult man to live with. I have to put up with a lot of bullshit with him. Or is he an easy guy to live with?
I wouldn't say easy.
Yeah.
There's complicated.
It's complicated, right?
Yeah. It's a complicated situation, but no.
Where'd you two meet?
You understand why he's out of the band.
Yeah, in other words, you understand why he can't get along with his brother. You know what I was thinking
There's
of?
two sides to every story.
You guys have a kid, and your brother's probably got kids, right? Too bad the kids can't get together.
That's sad. I told you. I'm not being flippant. I mean, it's at the end of no careers or no careers.
Yeah, fuck the careers.
A family that it doesn't get along, it's sad, but that's where we are.
Maybe
you know?
you guys could just get together. Let's make a Thanksgiving. No, you say no way.
Are you coming?
I'll come.
Are you
Yeah.
sitting
Weren't
at
you
the
broker? Were you in
table?
Point Reyes the other day?
I was.
Well, you live right
We
up the
were
street.
there.
Why didn't you
Well,
call?
what the hell?
You should have said, "Come by, have a."
What a beautiful place to live. I was there with my daughter. We went hiking for the day.
You should have called.
And she lives nearby.
Did you go to Hog Island for oysters?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We
The
did.
best.
Yeah, she turned me on to that whole area.
It's beautiful.
And yeah, we had a beautiful time walking around with her. We saw whales.
Yeah, it's best. It's hippie heaven, man.
Fucking awesome. And you two are out there making love and right. I can imagine the whole lifestyle.
Sometimes. we
Nobody
do that.
wears shoes. I get the whole thing. Yeah. So look at you, married to Chris Robinson.
Now, how do you
The
meet Chris?
Thanksgiving thing. the
How did you hook him
Thanksgiving
up with
thing.
Chris?
So a mutual friend
We have
of
friends.
ours.
Friends.
Yeah.
So, hey, you
one
guys-
night. I didn't know where I was going. It was a Black Crowes show at the. Where was that?
It was
Irving Plaza.
when Warpaint, a Warp special show.
And
at
do you like
Irving
instantly
Plaza.
see him on stage and fall in love?
Well, I didn't even
No,
know they
no,
were
hold on.
still making music.
Yeah, she was.
Sorry.
You know what she told me afterwards? I was, like we met, and I actually had a date,
yeah.
and then she like fucked off or whatever. Then her and I.
You were
Because
on a date.
I didn't know my friends were bringing her. I had heard about her. My friends wanted to introduce us. And then afterwards, we went to a little after party at my friend's restaurant in the village.
That's the place to go.
Yeah, and I
and
was
she's
like-
already seen you on stage
Well, yeah,
that
but-
night?
yeah, but
that
let's get-
seals the deal with the women.
Yeah, but you think. But
Yeah.
I went to her. I said, after we get our champagne, whatever, everyone's hanging out. I said, do you like the show? And she's like, yeah, it's a little tedious.
Oh, really? Wow. You spoke your mind.
I'd had a little tequila.
I was like,
Yeah.
charming,
So-
charming.
Did you get crushed by that? 'Cause
No,
I would
not
have
at all.
said, I'm not going out with her.
Well, can you give context at least? I mean, the concert
we
was
played
not
it-
normal.
The Black
Yeah.
Crowes fans had a blast. The thing was,
Yeah.
we played the whole new album in its sequence.
From start
I
to
see.
finish.
So there were no hit records that night.
So
was-
it turned you on that she was like not into the show.
let's say it didn't deter me,
Right.
but we did. We spent the night, and we've been together every day ever
You
since.
spent that night together?
Yes, we did.
Look at
My mother could be
you
listening.
gave yourself the first night with Chris Robinson. You might as well just do that.
I know.
You know
Big
what I mean?
city, Howard. Everyone's grown up.
And obviously it was great. Yeah, you're like, hey, we're adults. Obviously, there's something going on here. Let's go to bed.
But like I said, we've been together every day ever since.
Is that how it's always been with you with women, Christo? Because when you're a lead singer and stuff, like you don't really, women will. With me, it's 3-4 months in the making. You know what I mean? Are you able to just seduce women easily?
Yeah, that's my trip, Howard. You know that's me. I'm also known as no.
Have you written a love song about your wife yet?
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
There's a song on our third record called Wanderer's Lament. There's a Black Crowes song I wrote about her called Appaloosa.
Oh, look at that. And then what do you do when you write a love song about your wife? And your wife is lovely, by the way.
Thank you.
You're very beautiful. Do you walk in the room with the song and say, I've written a love song about you now?
No, he does not do that.
What does he do?
Not at all.
How do you learn that you have a love song?
You know what? I've told you. I've sang "You Wanderer's Lament." That song is about us. I sang.
But it's never discussed.
No, it's not.
But you sang it for her. You walked in and said, I want you to hear a song.
But usually I don't like to sing new songs there because she's too opinionated.
Oh, yeah. She told you your concert was tedious.
Yeah, you're tedious.
Is she a very judgmental person in the sense that even after you guys first made love, did she say this was tedious too? Or was there critique?
No, there was no critique.
No, but it came in an email form the next day, and I had to check off the boxes that I thought I could be better.
Well, this is exciting. Not only have we seen your new happy life,
but we've explored my old miserable life.
Well, you're one hell of a your old miserable life.
I'm kidding. But
you finally got it right.
Yeah,
Look at you.
Thank you.
And I really want to see you and your brother. Forget the music. It's over. That's it. That's over.
I'm telling you. You know what,
there's
Howard?
no new material.
There's no new material there, although maybe there would be. Who the fuck knows? We'll never find out. But a Thanksgiving dinner where the cousins could get to know each other.
My daughter would like that.
Yes. She probably wants to know her cousins.
She does.
Yeah, fantastic.
Chris,
Well,
let's do it.
we would stay out of it
Chris,
and let the kids be together.
Yeah,
Chris, you want me to do this?
When they're old enough soon, can't they all just meet up in Vegas or some shit like
Does your
that?
Does your daughter ever ask you about your brother? She must be concerned.
Of course. Yeah, she wants to know.
She's like, oh my God, I listen to your music and it's beautiful. I should meet my uncle.
Well, she's 7.
What if she ends up not liking you and liking her uncle?
That would be the worst.
That would be the worst.
Yeah.
Can't be.
I don't know.
Can't let
about
that happen.
All I'll say is Thanksgiving, we need multiple therapists at the table.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for sure.
You can't. Sometimes I say the wife will be the one who can,
The peacemaker.
the peacemaker. I've seen
I
that.
have my own beef with the brother.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. What's your beef?
I'm not going to go into
Did you try
that
writing
here.
songs with him too?
No, thank goodness.
It's a publishing disagreement we have
Oh
going.
my God! So you have beef too. This is not easy to put together.
No, it's
Well,
not
when
easy.
you remove yourself, reality. Like I said, I'm being sincere. It's a sad situation, and when someone has decided to make private things public, sometimes because they think they can get their way, or it's not even really truthful.
You didn't like the letter that was written in Rolling Stone about you. You didn't have a good day that day.
I had a fine day. If I got bent out of shape about everything that wasn't true in the media, then I would be crazy.
You got to live your life. You two have a beautiful life. You're living up there in Point Reyes. Look at you. How about this? Thanksgiving. Your brother.
We'll go to Hog Island Oysters.
That's
Your
a good
brother
idea.
and Rick Rubin.
Oh,
And
no.
John Mayer.
Oh, no.
No, who?
No. No John Mayer.
No John Mayer?
No.
You don't
thank
like John Mayer either.
No, thanks.
What happened with you and John Mayer? Did you go out with him?
I don't know. You want to tell the story?
I don't have anything.
kidding.
No. She doesn't know.
You
I don't know.
No. I don't dig that kind of artist, if you would call him even that. I don't
Really?
dig that kind of music. I don't listen to
Poor John is getting the shit
rock,
beaten out of him.
pop,
Get the
whatever.
hammer.
I know it's a shot.
terrible.
I mean, all right. I shouldn't say this really, but
Uh-oh.
Say it anyway.
Here we go.
the only interesting thing John Mayer could probably tell everyone is what Katy Perry's. I'm just teasing.
What?
I'm just teasing.
Oh.
That's too bad. I'm
else
still in
don't we-
trouble for all the horrible things I said about that guy from Blues Traveler on your show.
Oh, yeah, remember? That was years ago.
I know.
That was
the last time I was on your show.
I mean, I haven't seen you in ages.
I don't know. You know me, Howard. I love a good celebrity.
A little
I'm
fight.
all
Yeah,
about.
what was it? John Popper was ragging on you, And then
I let him have it. I was a little cruel to him, but you know what?
Well, he's a good artist, no? John Popper?
He has a harmonica. I mean, that's nice.
Ooh.
No, you know what? I see him sometimes. We're cool.
you do?
I mean, we're not going to hang out and stuff.
We should just do a whole show of
He
people.
did call me. Someone told me he wrote a book, and he said I was the biggest dick he ever met in rock and roll.
I love that.
I know, me too.
It'd be weird to end up
At least you're distinguished.
Well,
it
like
ends
I
up-
said, he never met Rod Stewart. I mean, what the fuck? you know?
It ends up, yeah, right. Ends up, the only guys you like is like John Tesh or somebody. You know what I mean? No, but you know, we should do a show one time. Just people you guys do not like.
Why? Well, that's negative. What
Yeah.
about all the people? You know, get me and Jimmy Page on here.
We love Jimmy.
I love
Page.
Jimmy. Me and Phil Lesh. We love, you know.
That fucking Jimmy Page better get his ass in my studio and talk to
He's
me about
never
his
been
life.
on your show.
Never.
No.
Really?
Never.
Huh.
Who is more interested in Jimmy Page than
Then
me?
you. And that's what
Exactly. Name one person.
I'm with you. If I could, if I had his cell number, I could call Robert, but I don't have Jimmy.
Have you ever met an idol who disappointed you? Have you ever met somebody you worshipped and then you suddenly go, "What the fuck?"
No, because I don't, I don't ever expect, because, who cares? Who cares what I am or what I do? I'm
No, but
just
I'm saying
another
you-
guy who's, but I'll tell you the best, you want to know the best story?
Yes.
And it's funny because tomorrow, the Brotherhood, we're playing with Government Mule in Central Park. And Warren Haynes.
band, yeah.
Warren Haynes.
Yeah.
This is 1990. First Black Crows were in New York. The Allman Brothers are doing Unplugged. The
Right.
Black Crows had been on earlier that day. The guy from the show goes, "Hey, you guys are from Georgia. You want to come see the Allman Brothers?" I was like, "Yeah, are you fucking kidding?"
Fucking almond.
So we
Brothers.
go down there. It's me and my brother, Rick, or whatever. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Rich. Yeah.
Rich. And we sit there, we're standing there, and Warren Haynes comes over, and I've never met Warren, and he's
Right.
like, "Hey, are you the two brothers from the Black Crows?" And we were like, "Yeah." He's like, "Wow, I'm Warren." And we meet, and he's like, "I really like your record," and he's from North Carolina, so blah blah blah. As we're talking, there's like a little room, and Greg Allman's in there combing his hair for 8 hours and
Got a
blow
look.
drying it.
Right.
Got a lot of hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus. And so inevitably he gets up, and there's a small hallway, and he has to walk through the hallway to the other room, and we're standing there.
Yeah.
And as he walks past us, Warren goes, Greg, this is the Black Crows, the two brothers from Georgia I told you about. And he looks at me in the corner and he goes, "Who gives a shit?" And he walked past us.
You probably like that.
I loved it.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
great.
mean, if he'd stopped and said, "Hey, great to me," I wouldn't have a cool story. But
But it would have been funny too, because think about it. I mean,
It was
he and his
amazing.
brother in a band, and the whole thing. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it was a similar kind of
And
situation.
they're from Florida, but they're kind of
right.
came together in Georgia. So, but yeah, he said, "Who gives a shit?" And what's funny?
Yeah.
27 years later, who does? I mean, really? I mean, if
Isn't
you
that
think-
great when a guy just goes, "Who gives a shit?"
It was great.
Fuck off. It's just so great.
But then the other stuff happened in life, the wondrous Joe Cocker. The first time I met Joe was right around that same time, and we were at the hotel lobby in Los Angeles, and he's one of my heroes, and
Right.
there he is, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's fucking Joe
Fucking
Cocker."
Joe Cocker.
And he stands up in the bar and he goes, "Chris." And I'm looking around if someone is Chris Christopherson here or someone
Right.
famous. I don't know. He's like, "Come here." And I go over and he goes, "Oh, my lad." And he gives me a big hug and he goes, "Thank you. Thanks for keeping this music alive. And thanks for all the things you've said about my band and my music."
Wow.
And Ronnie Lane, the great Ronnie Lane from the Faces, who had MS late in his
Yes.
life. I told this story the other day. Our very first shitty rock club gig opening for some band in Austin in 1990. And the guy from the club, we didn't even have a dressing room. We were by the soda cans and all the beer stuff. And this guy says, "There's a guy in a wheelchair out here named Ronnie Lane who wants to see you." And he came in and he was like, "Oh, I just want to meet you lot. You've said so much nice things about my music, and I want to see a real rock band again.
Those are the moments that
And
you
I was
cherish.
like, "Yeah, I'll remember that forever." The great Ronnie Lane, the most soul, the great Ronnie Lane.
That was a great band,
Oh, the best.
right?
So there's, those moments are also the stuff. And, I people always, you're on the cover of Rolling Stone. I'm like, I walked backstage in 1999 to see Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and every one of them said hello to me and knew my name, and I almost shit my pants. You
So
know?
being on the cover of Rolling Stone wasn't the big thing for you. It was more sort of meeting all the guys that you worship, right?
Or you talk about being on stage with Jimmy Page is like you don't even get.
That's a phenomenon.
But a couple like last year, I was in Florida on stage with George Porter Jr. and Bernard Purdy on drums. So for me, like I looked around, I was like, I'm on stage with Bernard Purdy playing drums.
Anybody ever come up to you and some of these young musicians and say, "Hey, produce our album, man. Would you help us out?" I mean,
never.
You know a lot. No one looks to you as a mentor.
I've produced a lot of records, but they're usually people come to me more of my,
Right.
There's not a lot of rock and roll, or you know what I mean. Like, I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do is help people put their records together. I
Just
mean,
can't find anybody to do it for.
Yeah, give me a call.
Weird.
I mean, it takes, like I said, I've done a lot of production stuff, but mostly kind of my contemporaries.
Yeah. Look at you two. Nice couple. I like your wife very much.
Yeah.
How you staying in shape? I mean, you're in some shape.
Stress.
What's your exercise routine?
I'm on the stress diet.
Yeah. Are you?
Exercise routine.
It's called Hashimoto's disease, thyroid.
Oh, really?
No, really. That and a combination of stress.
I've heard that.
It's good.
I've heard
it
women
works.
say if you take thyroid medication, you'll be thin or something.
Well, it depends which way you're swinging, but
I
yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have a lot of rock and roll stuff going on out there in Marin County.
I bet. Sex life still good, or is 9 years the moment where you go, who cares?
You got to fit it in at
You got to do it all.
funny
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, you do.
Got kids running around and
It's a
work
whole
to
thing.
do, and
I picture a whole commune out there.
I've been working on that for a while.
We
I
are
bet.
working on it.
Very awesome. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I've been working on that for a long time.
Well, you guys are delightful. Chris, you are something else.
Hey,
man.
Howard, thanks for having me.
You
Good
are-
to see you.
you are
Yeah,
one
thank
of
you,
the
Robin.
best.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
You're one of the best front men out there, man, and you've got a lot to be proud of, and we're proud of you, and we love that you came in today. Not we. I love that you came in today.
I
Yeah, who are
appreciate
you,
it.
Bill
so-
O'Reilly?
Yeah, who am I? We, the royal we.
The royal
we
we.
are all very grateful.
I don't think we want to say we too much after Bill O'Reilly's stories have been coming up.
Right.
Why are these guys always piss freaks? What's up with that?
I don't know, man. Why can't anyone get a girl?
I mean, I
that's
understand
weird.
you're an asshole, but you can't have an erection unless you're defecating. What is that?
But isn't it the worst way to get a girl is to like call her up and go, I'm going to fucking come in your shower and put a loofah on you? I mean, it's like, on what planet do you think some chick's going to get turned on by that?
I don't.
the
I mean,
Fox
look
News
at the
planet.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be on another planet. You got to be way out there.
yeah, or be able to speak German or something.
My way of getting a woman was always I walk in a room. If someone expresses some interest in me, then because I just assume everyone is repulsed by me. And then, it is true. Listen, I went to high school. I saw what was happening. What about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm not interested in that. Man.
Well, wait a second, man. Not
not
at all?
interested, no.
Seriously?
Listen,
That's
who
a
was
joke.
it? Who
What a
was
joke.
it lately we were talking about that wasn't even in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No one's in the Rock and Roll
No,
Hall.
but
Even
the-
like Steppenwolf's not in the Rock and Roll
I know,
Hall of
how
Fame.
can that be?
Like weird bands like Doug Somm and the Sir Douglas Quintet. He's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, where do we
Well, I
start?
might agree with that one.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
but I mean, there's like all these.
Let me ask you. I'm going to give you a theoretical situation. They
Remember
call
when
it-
Steve Miller was that 2 years ago? Got
He
in
was
trouble?
great.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
That's what fucking
incredible.
rock and roll is supposed to be able to
Yeah.
say what you
we
want
had
to say.
Steve in the next day. It was
That was amazing.
It was great.
And like
Yeah.
those guys in that band, the Black Keys, are like, well, he didn't even know who we were. Like, when you're upset about that, see, Howard, I'm that way though. I've no matter what, I've never gone anywhere in my life thinking anyone should know or give a shit about who.
That's
or
what I love
do.
about you.
I mean, if they do, cool. If they don't, I'm just this person. I mean,
But you got the right attitude. But okay, I'm going to give you a scenario.
Okay.
All right, here it is. They call you up. You've been inducted. You're going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The catch is you and your brother
yeah,
got to
I'm not
go.
going. I'm not going.
You're not going.
No.
Holy mackerel! This is insane.
Look, Jerry Garcia didn't go. I'm not going.
Wait a
That's
second. You wouldn't go to? Let's say they just want to induct you into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Would
I
you
don't
go
think
then?
I'm going.
So it's not a brother thing.
No, it's
But
not.
shouldn't
I don't-
the Black
Howard,
Crows
Howard, let's get this straight though. Like, I don't like my brother. I don't get along with him. I don't want to be in a room with him. I don't want to play music with those people in that
Right.
band.
Got it.
But I don't hate anyone.
But you would get up on stage and play at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with your brother.
Only if I made him.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not into.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to me is like going to the mall or something. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
don't.
I hear
It
you.
doesn't. I mean,
I
I
don't
get
know.
it. It's cool, but it's like
You guys deserve to be in, don't you think?
For sure, but
Good.
it's some weird, it's like a corporate kind of weird.
yeah. I didn't play.
But you
yeah.
guys are
No.
meant for each other.
They're on the same page.
Could you
That's
imagine
great.
these two when they're alone? Oh, this corporate horse shit.
And that John Mayer.
John Mayer, fuck it,
That's
man.
sexy
I do know.
fellow.
Yeah.
You're better than the president at keeping
Honey, what's the
secrets,
matter? You're not
according to the
excited?
news.
Yeah,
Mention
what is
John
with
Mayer,
our
how much you
president?
don't
What
like
is
him.
going on with what is going on with
Oh
Trump?
my
really? I
God,
mean,
you're so angry.
Well, from what I understand, he was in the White House.
Is he in the
He met with the Russian. John Mayer?
Entertaining of the Russian
Is he? I don't know.
ambassador
I
and
mean,
He
the
is.
I know John. I think
foreign
he's very
minister.
talented.
Yeah, he's good. He's
according
like
to the
yeah,
newspaper
you can-
today,
he
what
knows
I'm
all
reading,
about
here's
it.
the exact quote.
He's probably not been around long enough.
Yeah, he has probably had, I don't even
You
know
have
if
to be 20
25
years.
25.
25? Do you think what the Black Crows have 25 years easily?
Yeah.
You guys should. No one's contacted you guys.
No, nobody.
This is fucking
They
crazy.
must not have my cell number. I don't know what's happening.
What about the Cobb County Crows? Are they in? I would go with them.
with all K's.
I'm in the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. Which
Oh,
is,
are you?
yeah.
He did that. He showed up for
All
that.
right. Oh yeah, but not your brother.
No, they were all there.
Yeah, we were all there.
Oh, you were all there?
We were working that year.
That
yeah.
must have went well.
It was great.
Yeah. Beat the shit out of each other.
What a fun night.
Before we have the induction, there'll be a fight.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, those. You know, people would say like, "I want to get backstage." I'm like, "Not at a Black Crow show, you didn't."
No.
You know what I mean? It's like the
This is a
most-
real fight.
it's just the most.
There's no peace and love back
Just
there.
everyone in their own room, like all pissed
Yeah.
off.
You know, and at
like-
some point you get too old to be in fights. You know what I mean? So you have to get away because it's like I haven't had a fight since high school.
my
but
good
my point
friend,
being
though,
is
my
like I am the luckiest person in the world. I have beautiful
Dude,
wife,
of
beautiful
course,
family.
I know you're not bitter.
No, I have music. I have this thing. Like, who has the time just
Exactly.
for money
No.
to sit around and be miserable, man?
Most people don't get along with their families. That's what people don't know. Most people do not get along.
But they didn't have to
They
live
tolerate.
with them day in and day out
Oh,
and try
that's
to
how you
write
went into
with them and
business
all
with
that
your brother.
stuff.
That's the
yeah.
fucking
That's a
problem.
mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. You shouldn't have done that. But then if you didn't do that, you wouldn't have all these great songs.
Maybe I would have had greater songs.
Exactly. Listen, my parents can barely stand me. Most people in my family don't like me.
I'm with you. I'm with you there.
Absolutely. I'm obviously very annoying. Well, listen.
Well, as my father used to say, this is my son, Chris. He's very disappointing to me.
Yeah.
he's a big disappointment.
How many
to
days
me.
a week are you in therapy?
Just the one, man.
Just one?
He needs some more.
Oh, no. I'm in 2, 3, 4 sometimes.
But
a
it
week.
works. Look.
Yeah.
You seem happy, Howard.
Oh, yeah. I'm thrilled.
Melt it out. Not so angry.
You know what I'm sitting here wondering? I'm wondering how your brother's relationship was with your dad.
Oh, he
They
was the
loved
favorite.
him.
They
They
loved
loved
him.
him.
Oh, yeah.
my
Yeah. He fucking loved him. It's like the Smothers Brothers.
It totally was.
His
yeah.
dad loved him. You did? Your dad actually liked your brother?
I was the weird bad
Oh,
one. You know what I mean?
shit.
I was the one that was like, you know.
Did
I
your
was,
mom at least like you a little bit?
No.
No. Oh, my God.
I was the crazy one. You know, my
Right.
mom, why are you reading these books? You don't have to live like them. You know, I'm like,
Why
wow.
do I like you so much? Maybe there's something wrong with me.
We're both, yeah, no.
Your kindred spirit.
Yes,
Maybe
we
we
can
are.
both
Yeah.
feel that. you know.
Exactly.
And we
Well-
have overcome, Howard. We have overcome.
We've overcome everything. Now listen, the Chris Robinson Brotherhood's new album, Barefoot in the Head, is available for pre-order on iTunes and Amazon.
We have our new live album just came out. Well, it's not exactly. There are a series of live records. We're recorded by the wondrous Betty Cantor Jackson,
Yes.
who is the Grateful Dead's
and
engineer.
buy these records. I mean, this is a guy, his parents, his brother, and his grandparents didn't like him.
Nobody liked
The
him.
family
No.
dog rejected him.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Not
No.
true.
Oh.
Grandpa liked you.
Grandpa was really into me.
He liked you.
Yeah,
Because Ike Rabinowitz knew a weirdo when he saw one.
He liked the
Hello, mister. Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew this kid?
Check out ChrisRobinsonBrotherhood.com for tour dates and more information. Hear Chris Robinson's music on Sirius XM's 90s on 9 and Jam on Channel 29.
I have my own radio show on Sirius.
There you go. Look at you.
Gurus Galore. Do you
Is that
listen
right?
to it?
I will now. I mean, I would listen.
It's on this week. I have a new episode this week on the Jam channel.
You probably play all kind of like
weird
stuff.
shit.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
you would hate it.
Yeah, it's
We're
don't
just
listen.
waiting
you
for
can't
them
go
to
too
fire
out
us.
there.
Don't listen to it, Howard.
They were days away from being fired. Getting a fist fight with Scott Greenstein. All right,
He
listen.
loves Scott.
Listen, of course you do. You two, listen. You make a beautiful couple.
Thank you.
I'll tell you that.
We have a good-looking kid too. You should
Oh,
see
I
her.
bet.
She'll be here in a minute.
She look like mom?
Thank God.
Thank God. I like that. All right. Listen. Oh, and we have a link to pre-order the new studio album on hs.com, howardstern.com.
Excellent.
All right. Chris, thanks.
Howard, thanks so much.
Allison, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And we will
Thanks,
be
Howard.
back with the news right after these words.